Mosquitoes, miseries, mindsets. The oak fought the wind and was broken. The willow bent when it must and survived. Robert Jordan. I lay under a tattered sheet that took 1,000 tumbles too many in the scarred, rusty tub of the laundromat dryer. The street and parking lot lights were dim, and they crawled in as an ambient glow, tiptoeing as shadows across the dingy walls. The room vibe might make an impactful sepia-tone social media filter today. Perhaps it would be labeled something like eerie 80s. The rusty mattress springs attempted to poke through the worn, stained fabric here and there. They were not very strategic as they probed. It was a not-so-shiatsu attempt to needle massage my skin. As part of my nightly ritual to fall asleep, I listened to the unrelenting buzz of the mosquitoes around my head. It was hot, which made the voracious hummingbird-sized menaces belligerent. Even though I was exhausted, I would have trouble dozing off again. I made a tent with my knees to keep some distance between their target, my sweaty, rail-thin frame, and the sheet. I carefully maintained the seal between bed and sheet, lest one of my foes make their way entirely in to taste my flesh. The nights on the space coast of Florida, within a few blocks of the Indian River, seemed to have a relentless consistency, so they felt sticky without regard to the calendar's date. Was it September or October, May or June? The mosquitoes care little for seasons there. In the swamp, they bite you more, year-round. Perhaps it was spring or summer in Titusville, but the nights blurred together, sticky and unyielding. Just a room away, my elementary-age younger triplet sisters slept. Post-sugar high crashed from the free now and later candies the gas station owner showered them with. They were worn out from running around our neighborhood with their friends. Across the house, my mom's empty room waited, ready to be a wood-paneled witness to another bar crawl. Outside my window, I could hear the lament of a man just as lost and frustrated as me. But I suspected his mosquito bites were anesthetized by whatever night train or ripple he had secured earlier in the night. Just across the street, I imagined him lying, fighting sleep against the back door of the vegetable stand. His perch was a former gas station, turned into a miniature farmer's market where I often traded what little we had for a potato and zucchini that my mom would usually fry up for dinner for the 5 of us. "John, here's a $2 bill in food stamps. Go get me a gagoots and a potato from across the street." Mom learned to conserve and leverage the cast iron flavored leftover grease from previous nights of our unintended, unconscious veganism. Reusing the fat might seem like a technique derived solely from our poverty, but it was also a family culinary tradition. As I felt the sting of some of my more enthusiastic enemies through the sheet tent, the mumble singing reached me, an elegy of something lost. "Oh, you, sir, didn't want, oh, why are you never, oh." A lament of mourning? Perhaps. For the pickled condition he was in across the street? For a life he once had? I was unsure which, as this lush-born lullaby was a regular occurrence as predictable as the nearby train that would rattle the floor and windows of our ramshackle Section 8 subsidized rental house. I was also never sure if the voice I heard each night, as the jalousie windows shook and let the winged furies in through their missing panes, was the same or a different man. I didn't know then, but my uncorrected, nearsighted vision may have been why the figure or figures across the street were never revealed, no matter how hard I squinted out the window. Whether one or many, the same theme persisted of remorseful muttering and wailing, night after somber night. None of that mattered. The voice in my head just repeated its 15-year-old version of his song. Like the worst boy band ever formed, our harmony of self-pity was a deafening dirge. His incomprehensible mutterings mingled with my cries to God to show himself. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? This duet was my soundtrack, what my grandmother would call a poor pearl mindset. Always careful to overly dramatize the phrase and make poor sound more like poor before drawing out the pearl in her trademark Brooklyn Italian drawl. You see, I didn't just feel sorry for myself. I wanted it all to end forever.